Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. What is this we hear and smell? A new edition on the horizon?
It's Pathfinder Second Edition. Nope. That's a false alarm. It's not here yet.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. I'm not excited, and I'm going to put this straight out. After futzing around with Starfinder, I am not excited for second edition. And
Okay, what we should do is actually say the good, the bad, and the ugly. So what is known, what is currently unknown about all of this. To summarize things, from what it looks like, and we can't really confirm this completely yet. We're going to have to wait for them to come out with the actual mechanics to know for certain. But what it seems like is it seems like a different flavored version of D&D 5th edition.
yeah, they're trying to step a foot in two camps that is not going to do well for them. They want to be crunchy like 3.5 and first edition Pathfinder, but they want to have that super easy get in of 5th edition, and they don't go hand in hand.
Well, I think they're missing the audience. I think the people who play Pathfinder, they really do want to get the feel of 3.5. They really like the options that they get to have out of from Pathfinder First Edition. The main problem is I think that they're not giving to their fans is I think they just kind of wanted a less bulkier version of Pathfinder First Edition. I think they just wanted to be a little less bulky, not full on 5th edition, but a little less bulky.
But Rachel, like, what's wrong with the DM and the players bringing 40 hardcover books to a table to make a character? There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, they published a nice selection of material that you can pull from, and it is actually kind of what makes Pathfinder good and unique, that it doesn't hide away from the crunchy aspect. Now, there's all these people that saying, oh, no, you need to simplify it to get more people in. It's like, no. I'm going to tell you straight out that you simplify this stuff, you're going to lose a bit of your soul on what you create. Because what offered great stories is a degree of complexity. Many people talk about, I remember hearing many of these people, like Mercers and stuff like that, and Coville and Mike Merle's talking about, like, we want to tell a story, and that type of philosophy is trying to be shown through Paizo, and they've been trying to do that to begin with, but they forget an important factor. Mechanics help tell a story, and that complexity adds to it. When you start anesthetizing that and ripping that out, your story actually starts to become neutered. There's a lot of complex things behind the scenes that many people don't see. And you want to have a great storytelling in your games? Bring your A game.
Oh, you're getting all ASMR on us, Mike.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh, you kiss your mother with that mouth? I'm sorry, I'm just messing with you. No, but I understand what you're trying to say, though. It's people come to Pathfinder from what I understand, because I don't play Pathfinder, and I know that I'm a little bit out of my element here, but I understand from the fans that they like the degree of complexity to it, and you're cutting out a great deal of that. From what we're seeing, okay, I will say the positives are that if you are a fan and everything like that, and you're interested in basically playing like a Pathfinder flavored version of D&D 5th edition, this is going to be right up your alley. They have simplified a lot of things. I think they might have simplified the amount of feats that you've got. One of the main things that they've done is they don't call it race anymore, they call it ancestry, and they have feats that are now racial feats, or ancestral feats, I guess, based on your background. So there are things. So if you're a dwarf, there are feats you can take as a dwarf. If you're an elf, there are feats you can take as an elf. Things that will give you bonuses, things like that. So those are some positives. They've moved to having, I think, only 3. You can take only 3 actions during the game. I think there's like 1 bonus action, something like that.
It's essentially, it's no different than 5th edition. It's very much, essentially, they gave it different names, but it's very much the same bloody thing that you're doing. Now, one of the things that I don't mind that they're trying to set it up so kids, oh god, I'm old now, to have people grapple with what you're supposed to do, but it's something that you really quickly learn, and anytime you play these games, they leave Pathfinder a la mode. This is when there are blog posts. It's like, you have encounter mode, which is usually your dungeon crawl, I'm going to stab you. Your exploration mode, where you're looking around and role-playing and poking things, and your downtime, what you do when no one's looking around. And it's not masturbation, guys. The thing is, like, these are concepts that have always been in Pathfinder, or any role-playing system. Even if it's not officially been, like, stated, these are the modes of play. To me, I don't like that statement as a, like, oh, this is what you're doing. It's like, that's kind of something that even new people will kind of grapple with immediately. And, like, this is really, to me, condescending and talking down to you. And that's why I'm kind of really skittish looking at this, because I'm not that experienced, or at least I don't feel I'm that experienced or experienced enough. And looking at this, like, this is something you pick up the moment you crack open any book, any role-playing system. Even if they don't have these terms or concepts in there, you immediately jump to those conclusions, because you just follow a logic train of thought. There's going to be times I'm going to attack, there's times we're going to explore, and there's times like, okay, we're not doing anything, what do you guys want to do on the off-downtime season? Like, this is a natural thing happening. And if that's a blog post to say, oh, this is what Pathfinder does, I'm not having that much of a positive reception.
They're just basically stating obvious stuff that you know should be there. I don't know. They're sort of keeping a lot of things like the mechanics very closely to their chest. They're not really going to show us what all that is about. And in fact, I've seen people who are writing in the comment sections and things like that of the Pathfinder blog posts are like, where are the mechanics? I want to look at the mechanics. I want to see what this looks like on paper. Like, you're telling me all of this good stuff. Show me the damn mechanics. And they don't show you anything. What they have been showing, though, are things like different races you can play as, different classes, what those sort of look like, or an introduction to them. They don't show you the mechanics of them, mind you. But they do give you an idea of some of the things you can do with it. Like, for example, they said that now you can play as a goblin. That after years of them being maligned, you can be a goblin now.
Well, that's the thing, is like, they offered that from the beginning. Like, they're putting some races in there from the beginning, and to me, it's like, yeah, we could have already fucking done that. Like, no judging me, no judging me. I have a concept of playing an illithid that I literally want one of the mind flayers to play as. Like, this is stuff you can actually do.
That's actually funny. I'm just imagining you as a mind flayer.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing, is like, you can already
do... Have too much fun as that.
Yes, I do. You know how dangerous I am with my own characters.
But see, you're the reason why DMs make these hard table rules. There's like, there will be those rules and stuff like that, and they'll be like, okay, why do we have that rule? And then you're the person they made the rule for.
Yes, I'm the one that gets pointed at every single time of why there's a new rule at the table. But that's the thing, is like, they're putting goblins and all these things, like, these are things that you naturally do, and most of these stuff that I'm not excited for. Now I have to give this one. This is one of my kind of tabletop rules that I kind of have in there, is degrees of success. I kind of have a different version in there. And it boils down to, they give the example of a reflex save or dexterity saving throw if you're in 5th edition. If someone throws a fireball, if you succeed, you take half damage. If you critically succeed, no damage. If you fail, full damage. Critically fail, double damage. I kind of have that concept in there in some basic format, but mainly because I always think critical successes and critical fails should always be something that you remember. Now, I don't technically use the double damage, but if you critically fail something, let's say, for example, someone throws a fireball at you, you might be thrown prone and you might skid across the floor a bit, or you might be stunned around, or it's like, I might add some extra effects to it for more flavor and potency. But if you, like, critically succeed, you might be able to just, like, oh, your clothing is singed, oh, you might lose a weapon, but you are, like, full-blown ready for continuing on. Like, that's kind of how I've always run it, and again, as I said, I'm no expert. There's many more people that I would argue that has 10 times more experience than me, but it's just something that seems logical for me to do and choose.
So basically what it seems to me, or I think what it seems to us both, is they've added in some common sense stuff, so that's good. I mean, it looks like the system is potentially playable. We have not looked into the mechanics yet, but at the same time, they haven't really done much that is new. The only thing that we do know is that, or one of the things that we do know is also that's a downside, which is another thing we should add on, is that they've been making it rather clear that they're not going to port everything over to second edition. So if there are all of those books that you really like that have a lot of content, what they're talking about right now is that if you really want that to be there, you're going to have to contact them and let them know that that's what you want to still be in there, so that they might, keyword might, add it into some supplementary books that they'll do. But they're not going to convert everything over, and they're certainly not going to give you a table to help with the porting things over. So that's...
Well, I mean, like, here's the thing, like, that's the thing is, like, because they're keeping so much close to them, it makes me very worried, because, I mean, like, here's one of the other things, is, like, Rogue class preview for Pathfinder playtest zone. Rogue feats. Bridging the gap between murderous and the skillful are various class feats available to the rogue. Few of you are lucky enough to playtest the rogue, blah blah blah. They're trying to set off, but at second level, they can take mobility, allowing them to move at half their speed and ignore all sorts of reactive triggers by movements. And it's like, these are like little abilities, like, technically, from what I can remember, some form was in previous editions. Now, like, again, that's not bad, but I'm not really excited for that. Like, this is kind of, for me personally, one of the things I liked about 5th edition. If I started off as a rogue, I got these archetypes to go into. They're a nice, clean thing to zip into. And the only difference is I would add, yes, you need more complexity of feats.
It kind of sounds like Pathfinder, but with training wheels. You know,
that's a nice way of putting on it. I don't even know if I would say training wheels, because as I look at this, like, this doesn't seem like, again, it's a very weird hodgepodge of making it easier to access, but in that ease of accessibility, I don't see really much to delve into.
Be excited about. There's nothing really to delve into or to be really particularly excited about. I mean, unless you're, really just super duper excited to play, Pathfinder flavored 5th edition, which I've heard that people already do. I've heard a lot of folks will already do some kind of homebrewing, and so if there's anything that they want from Pathfinder, like races or classes or anything like that, they will port them over and then do a homebrew where they're basically playing 5th edition, a 5th edition version of Pathfinder.
Well, here's the thing. One of the other reasons why this just strikes me as a weird 5th edition is when you look at, they bring out the fighter in one of their updates. They say, take the 4th level feat, quick reversal. For example, if you're being flanked and you miss your 2nd or 3rd attack against one of the flankers, this feat lets you redirect the attack to another target and re-roll it, possibly turning it into a miss. Possibly turning a miss into a hit. Now, I mean, like, that's a great feat, but because you're paring things down, it strikes me as, again, you're trying to go down the archetype route for, like, 5th edition does, where you're not really building someone anymore. And that, for me, makes me kind of go like, well, why don't you just bite the bullet and make a 5th edition version of this? Because, like, that's all I can see of. Like, everything's set up. They're not really making it seem like you're having the options and great choices to build these characters. It almost seems like, yeah, these are the ways to play the character. Well, if you're going to go down that route, just give us archetypes.
And you know what? They really do need to give us something to be excited about. Like, damn it, give me something to be excited about. Give me a reason to play 2nd edition versus playing 5th edition. Because, if I have my money and I have to choose between just getting more supplementary shit for, like, 5th edition and trying out second edition Pathfinder, I need to know what the benefits are to playing that over Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I really need something to get me excited. Maybe I'm jaded. Maybe we're both jaded. Maybe this will be just, like, super awesome and blow us both out of the water because we just haven't seen
like
all
Starfinder.
The awesomeness. Oh, God. That's the funny thing is everybody got, well, not everybody, but a couple people, the few people that came out of the woodwork to pay attention to our Starfinder episodes. I think there were 2 of them that we did. Who flipped out at us like, we don't know anything, you haven't even seen the thing, and blah, 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 blah. You know shit. Yep. And now we see that in the forums and things like that, and places where everybody was super excited about Starfinder, it's deathly quiet. It's dead. Nobody's really talking about Starfinder. It's kind of like...
swept under the rug. And that's kind of what, again, like, we're not trying to be negative Nancy's at this shit. It's like, I'm calling it like it is. Because, guess what? Like, if you want a complex game, if you want a deep game, you're going to have to bite the bullet. And the problem is, what they're doing is chasing trends. And I'm sorry. If you start chasing trends, you're not going to fucking last. Yeah. Like, here's the thing. 3.5 in or Paizo's Pathfinder succeeded because they heeded what the audience wanted. People wanted more 3.5, and it refined. That's why it succeeded so great. 5th edition comes around, and people are loving it for all its faults, which I think there's a lot of them. And
there's a lot of faults.
There's a lot of them, but they love it because it's idiot-proof. You can get into it really quickly. The problem is, that leaves I would argue, a shorter shelf life for people. And guess what? People are going to want that crunchiness soon enough. You can only last so much on ice cream, Cheez-Its, and Fritos before you start getting, you know what? I definitely need some steak.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm not even really all that into Cheetos. But, anyway, but here's a situation. Everybody is like really gung-ho on 5th edition right now. Like, I'm gonna be frank. People are only playing that right now because it's the best we've currently got. What Pathfinder really needed to do to blow everybody the fuck away on this was to come in and make a better 5th edition. If they really wanted to do a good job or knock these people out of the water, make a better 5th edition or make a better... or make it like a 3.7, okay? Like, streamline things, the fuck down, cut the fat, and give the people who like the number crunching a little bit of the crunchy, but more streamlined. And from what I'm seeing, I don't think that that's what we're gonna get. I want to be wrong. I want a better system. Damn it! I like depth. I like playing and.
It's my fault, ladies and gentlemen. I introduced her to crunchy games, and now she's addicted.
Shut up, you. No, but yeah, I like lore. I like all of these things. I want things to be good. I think we both want things to be good. And, this is just kind of a little bit of a disappointment. I mean, there are some things, don't get me wrong, that have intrigued me a little bit, that are a little bit interesting, and things from the original Pathfinder that I have found interesting because they went into depth on certain classes in a way that is at least interesting and also a little dark. And so I always appreciate that. But yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, when you play with these games, when you look at this, the reason why I don't hold much hope is that watching the track record of going on, I'm not, again, as I said before, we don't see people excited over Starfinder. I picked up Starfinder. I futzed around with it. It's not offering anything that I can't get somewhere else but better. For me, I would have thought, not just trim the fat, but looking at what honestly needs to be focused on and expanded on, and how to work those mechanics into the original Pathfinder. Like, let's get better ship-to-ship combat. Let's find better ways to build and create things. Let's find different modes of doing things, actual actions and abilities, and make them a more core atmosphere or point of the game and the universe. Because when you start focusing on the core, you start building up from there. Pathfinder 2nd Edition, I don't see a core other than I want generic so everyone can play me. If that's your... Because that's all I'm getting from everything. Like, looking up at how you level up, because I think it was talking about, like, you go up at, like, every 1,000 hit points or something like that, and you keep on adding to it or something like that. It's like, you're not really looking at something that's going to be enjoyable. Now, I understand keeping everyone, like, at the same level to upgrade, but you're keeping everything very... not have to think on anything. That it just turns into crack open the book, do the next stage, do the next stage, do the next stage.
Yeah.
And that becomes boring because I'm going to tell you this. When you play 5th edition, I'm going to use this example, what I don't like from 5th edition, of when you pick up on the fighter. Like, if you just want a number damaging person, you're going to pick the champion and not think on anything else. If you want a fighter that's going to be able to, like, kind of control the battlefield, you're going to pick a battle master, and you don't have to think anything more than that. And that's the taste I'm getting in my mouth with 2nd edition. I don't want that taste in my mouth because, guess what? Like, it starts making every ability to handle a problem, you don't have to think anymore. Yes, does it speed up combat, but the problem is combat then becomes boring and uninteresting and unchallenging.
That is true. And I know they've mentioned that they're saying that they're going to keep the lethality, but I just don't know. If they really do end up being a Pathfinder flavored 5th edition, we're going to see a lot of the lethality nuked, which is what I think a lot of people liked about Pathfinder, which was the lethality and the ability to do all the things that the number crunching allowed them to do. So that is also a problem because you've had people who've been playing this game potentially for 10 years.
I would argue 20, but that's me.
Well, yeah, if you count 3.5, but that's D&D. But
I do, but that's me.
you counted like that. Yes, but what I'm saying is if you're only counting Pathfinder, it's been around for 10 years, so there have been people who've been playing this game for 10 years. And now you're telling them, okay, you've got this character that you love and you and your group have been playing for God knows how long, and you've been keeping that character for God knows how long, and now you can't necessarily easily port it over. They say that you're going to be able to easily port it over, but not really, especially if they're nuking a lot of things. It's just there's a lot of problems here, and I'm wondering if they've missed the ball on what these people really want and what they deserve as fans who've been this dedicated and stayed with things for this long.
Yeah,
I
promised
I would try to be nice this episode.
Well, here's the thing. Like, we are being nice, but because we're looking at this, like, here's the thing. Any system, whatever it is, we do want it to succeed. We may sound so negative on it because, guess what? The more systems we play, we usually have a larger enjoyment from.
Yeah, we really do like to expand what we're currently playing and, play with our friends and just have a good old time. And I think, we make these shows because we really do want to be able to share our input with other people because we think that we're not alone in these feelings. That people they have these feelings, but they're kind of like, I don't know if I should say anything, But, yeah. I think this is a good place to wrap up. What about you?
No, I think this is a good place to wrap up. And the thing is, we're so negative, or it sounds like we're so negative because, again, we have a bit of experience. We've played around, and we start realizing what a lot of people are looking for. And when a system is trying to sell itself as a rebirth of its flagship material, and seems to be stepping away from what makes it itself special and unique to kind of follow the popular kids, it's like, yeah, we know what the routes you're going to be doing. You're going to be doing the wrong stuff, doing smack in the bathroom, going, what the hell have I done to become eventually, very quickly. When
Like, what are you even talking about?
I know. All it is.
Doing smack in the bathroom?
Anyway.
You get the idea that you've moved away from the path that you were supposed to be on, or you stepped away from what you really love.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. Oh, it's good.
Thank you for joining us. Tell us what you think. Keep away from that bathroom smack.
And if you like this, subscribe, tell us how you feel in the comment section below. We always appreciate constructive criticism. And have a nice night.
Thank you, and good night, guys.